Wait, he asked Chat GPT? No. I wanted to like you, bro. No. Hold on. Hold on. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have my coffee here. I am ready to become a React bro again. I kind of miss React broing.
2 years ago, Blair Zahn, aka Illuminaughtii, was a beloved YouTuber known for fighting the good fight against injustice. Whether it was speaking out against animal cruelty or pyramid schemes and financial scams, she was seen as making the world a better place, one video essay at a time. But last year, that all changed overnight. And while I want to talk about the incredibly dense year Blair has had, it's worth remembering how the hell we got here in the first place. As you might remember—
Okay, I will say this. I do know that Illuminautti's downfall was years in the making. And before she actually got like properly canceled on YouTube, when everybody swooped down and go, I got a problem with her, I got a problem with her, I got a problem with her, I used to always hear stories in the background. And it was like everybody kind of treated it like she was the one that got away. And then all of a sudden, she made that one stupid tweet about a purple marker asset and torn paper. And just to think, if her big-headed ass not made that tweet, she'd probably still be around right now. One tweet. To a lawyer, of all people. To a lawyer. To Legal Eagle. Of all people, Legal Eagle? Are you kidding me? Bruh. Yeah, it was an After Effects plugin too. Exactly, Kangaloope. Exactly.
Illuminaughtii suddenly came out in April of 2023 and publicly accused fellow YouTuber Legal Eagle of essentially plagiarizing her videos. But such a serious accusation was based on nothing more than his editors using similar visuals to hers, visuals that are pretty common, bordering on generic, in non-fiction media. So right away this was seen as being bafflingly petty because what she was describing, that's perfectly normal. Your style—
You know what I find funny? She is literally saying this about the guy who makes videos about fair use, about like law stuff when it comes to YouTube and you know, copyright and stuff. Did she think before she made that tweet, or did she think she was so big that she can get away with it? I think it was the second one. I think that she thought she was unstoppable.
in doing literally anything is going to borrow ideas from others. Like, I didn't invent the slow zoom you see right now, but it'd be weird if some French new wave director got all pissy about it, right? So amidst this crack in the Illuminaughtii brand, The Click, One Topic, Wonderstruck, and Oz Media, four creators who once shared the collab channel Sad Milk with Blair, detailed their experiences with Blair using her mass resources to try and ruin their lives and careers in response to personal and professional conflicts.
Just to get back at an ex-colleague, she did this, she paid people to dig up dirt, make alt accounts, harass me for months. Why?
Because she's crazy, that's why. I think she's legit crazy. Like, bro, what? Insane in the membrane, yes. Yes, Midna.
You lied, and I can only think that's because you wanted us gone, not just off of YouTube. You wanted these lies to come into our everyday life offline.
This was especially bad for Wonder and Oz, who were both employed by and lived with Blair, a dynamic that she would allegedly exploit often.
She had a hand in every single aspect of my life, and at any moment she could take it away when she felt, which is exactly what happened.
As you can see with Wonder, Blair has a habit of taking advantage of younger men, 8 years younger than her, and their financial illiteracy for her own personal gain.
And this behavior has been labeled by some as almost a form of modern slavery, where Blair was specifically aiming to put them in debt that she knew they couldn't repay in order to gain complete control over them.
Yeah, I think it seems like to me, especially with the stories I heard, which these stories are public. I know they talked about them on Now Recording when Tommy went on there and talked, and I think Nick was there too. But I believe Vault was there too. Just some of the shit she would pull, it's like Blair really wanted control of everybody around her, even down to how she was going to tell you how your Discord was ran. Like, it's not her Discord. Your Discord connected to your channel and your community, she's going to tell you how it should be ran. No, that's not how that works. This is my shit. I run my shit how I want, you know? I don't know, man. I can't get down with people like that.
It's extremely uncomfortable with someone making such a large payment towards a vehicle on my behalf. But in Blair's words, she had the money and insisted that I get the car. After a few more discussions, she eased me into the idea that this car was a good move and would really change my life.
This document gave her the power to foreclose if I was unable to make a monthly payment of nearly $2,500 for nearly a decade. Blair knew that even with my income working for her, that this wasn't possible. It feels as though she knew that I would be destined to fall behind, that this outcome was inevitable.
These circumstances grew especially troubling for Oz, who was in a romantic relationship with her for some time and came within inches of losing his house.
What I can only describe as retaliation from the person who's my ex, former employer, and prior colleague, Blair is in the process of currently foreclosing my home.
Now, all of this breaking was terrible for Blair. I mean, just scratching the surface, we were looking at her spreading false rumors of the clique supporting those attracted to children.
Here is Sad Milk posting on
Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. Okay, I'm not gonna watch. I mean, we're gonna watch it, but I just want to see something. So we're not wow. Okay. So for y'all from the commentary community, I think you know what my gripe is going to be when we watch this. Yes, Squatchin, justice for Tommy C.
On the 1st of November, 3:28 a.m., that Salty Click and OT will not be continuing the new journey with Sad Milk and we're leaving the channel. And there's a tweet from Illuminaughtii saying, casual reminder, pedophilia is never a gray area. Immediately after announcing her departure from Sad Milk, within 3 hours, this statement was made by Illuminaughtii and retweeted by Sad Milk. This, as anyone would know, started many rumors.
Trying to use these rumors in order to socially and professionally isolate him.
I think one topic is a liar and a sham, and has been pandering to our community. If he stays friends with someone like this, he is using us for money.
Straight up extorting people with less wealth than her, fostering a hostile work environment both as an employer and partner.
During this call, Blair began to become highly irritable and raise tensions where they did not need to be raised. She said, and I quote, "Shut the f up and let me talk for once." I remember it clearly. It was very nasty. Click, however, tried to remain on the call and mitigate his intentions were for the betterment of the group, but Blair kept berating him. I have never heard Click, a very extroverted and talkative man, remain so quiet.
And developing an obsession with taking these people down. An obsession that became so great that she invested money.
Oh, that's her poop video. I think this is the video that she hates. Okay, I like that this guy put this video in his video because she hates this video. She tried her damnedest to take this video off the internet. It's her poop story. It's her story about her having to scoop poop out of the toilet. And she hates it. She hates that video. So it's become a meme that when you do a video of the overall drama, you somehow insert this video in there because it pisses her off.
Money and countless hours into it.
Hey, listen, Blair, I'm putting this all together. What kind of cover-up is this? Click was saying these bad things, creative differences. Click is a liar. This is all Blair replying to her own announcement.
Okay, I just want to say also, this gentleman right here has got one of the best voices on YouTube. This man right here. He really does. He has one of the best voices on YouTube.
Under an alt account. Here's a former staff member of hers getting paid to sift through raw audio recordings of me looking for dirt. More specifically, the R word.
All seemingly in response to these people placing small boundaries, pretty much always relying on them removing themselves from the situation after falling victim to her toxic behavior. Now, at first, Blair attempted to respond to this by defending herself and insisting that she was the victim of these 4 creators. But this completely backfired because much of what she said was easily disproven by the others.
And I also got stuck footing the bill too. What quickly transpired was that members either couldn't or wouldn't reimburse me for the editors.
I'd like to state that this quote is both chronologically and directly false. So while yes, Blair did pay for edits, she was always reimbursed for this. As you can see stated on the screen, you will find bank statements I made directly to Sad Milk during its infancy.
And worst of all,
Oh my God. How does it feel, Blair? You get to relive this if you watch this video. You get to relive, well, this part of the mistakes you made, you know. But I hope you think about Tommy C too when you watch this, because I know you watch everything. We all know you watch everything. And I hope you think of what you did to Tommy C too, you know.
she weaponized very intimate parts of Wonder's mental health to try to portray him as being too unstable to be trusted.
What she did to Wonder is the most gross expose I have ever seen. Not only does she openly share his potential side note,
which leads me to my next and most painful section, my mental health, which was proudly put on display for the world to see.
So with her image on fire, she decided to retaliate against Wonder, Oz, and Felix, a former employee who helped provide the clique with some of the most damning evidence to come out against Blair. This started with Illuminaughtii quietly sending out cease and desists while publicly promising transparency, and eventually escalated to lawsuits for slander. Now it's worth noting that Oz, Wonder, and Felix seem to be getting this treatment because they were by far the easiest targets. For starters, they live in the US, unlike Click and OT, making litigation far more accessible than an international suit. They also
Yes, okay, let's talk about international suits for a second, okay? I don't know if it costs, I mean, I'm pretty sure it would cost more for someone who's overseas to sue somebody in the United States, but I can tell you this much. For someone in the United States to sue someone, oh, it doesn't even have to be overseas. It could be in Mexico and Canada, okay? It is extremely expensive. Extremely. That's why I thought it was funny that Jake Weddle was talking about suing Queeman and Hellbent. Like, really, dude? You can't afford that. Really? There's no way you can afford that. How are you going to sue two people in the UK? You know? Yes, and complicated. Yeah. Yeah, it's expensive and complicated.
Also likely possess the fewest resources, as they're either smaller creators, or in the case of Felix, they're just someone who happened to have worked for a YouTuber. They were also the ones who were the most legally vulnerable, as all three at some point worked for her and thus signed confidentiality agreements that could be exploited should Blair decide to. And boy did she. What started with legal action meant to silence them has escalated to lawsuits meant to sink them, especially Oz.
It is of my opinion that Blair timed these events so I could only fight one, the foreclosure or the lawsuit, not both. I do believe that if I did not speak out against her in April, she would not have put my home through foreclosure proceedings. With these actions, timed alongside the lawsuit, it does make me firmly believe, in my opinion, it's retaliatory in nature.
But thanks to a massively successful crowdfunding push, they've been able to defend themselves in court instead of having to be silent about the abuses they allegedly faced. Though Oz had shared on December 19th, 2023 that he managed to exit foreclosure proceedings with Blair. So while this didn't mark the end of Oz's fight, it did at least afford him some much needed breathing room heading into 2024. Which, by the way, any ongoing fundraising that is relevant will be in the description for if you would like to support in any way. But believe it or not, everything I've talked about so far happened in 2023. And while those were kind of the spark notes,
holy shit. Wait a minute. So we're going into 2 years of this? Why did I think Illuminaughtii happened this year? No, it was last year, wasn't it? Young black economist. Blair could ask the Legal Eagle for advice. True. The person who kind of took her down, but without taking her down because everybody else is like, nah, now's the time. Holy shit, 2 years? It's been a minute. Internet time isn't real. True. Because I feel like it's been this year. This year has been such a whirlwind when it comes to drama. That's why I have the hashtag burnt toast, where we're taking down Toastify. Because Toastify is going to be the one making the money on the retrospectives on this shit. I'm just saying. Okay? Toastify is like the retrospective guy. We got to take him down because he's going to be making all the money next year. Just throwing it out there. No, we can't take down Toastify. I like him. Yeah, Soul. Operation Burnt Toast.
I have an hour-long video from last year that covered all of this in much more detail as it unfolded. Because I want to focus on the past year of Illuminaughtii, a time where she started off swinging hard to keep her career going, but has ended with her disappearing without a trace. Now right away, it's really important to make note of why Blair was in such a vulnerable position. And it comes down to three simple components. One, she placed herself on a very high pedestal. So much of her work was about fighting injustice that she cemented herself as almost a beacon of morality. And the YouTube audience will often be happy to help you onto a pedestal, but they are equally happy to turn against you if that's found to be a facade. Second, there was the severity of the
Yes. It's like, I think me and Tina were talking about this. You can't lose the trust of your audience. The best way to get your audience to turn against you is to have them lose trust in you. Listen, you can fuck up. Everybody fucks up. Nobody's perfect. But you have to be able to sit there, take your licks if you fuck up. You have to be able to say, I'm sorry, and show them that you're trying your damnedest not to make that mistake again, you know? But everybody f***s up. Nobody's perfect. If you have the kind of audience that thinks you're perfect, you have the wrong kind of audience. My audience knows I f*** up. And I don't have a problem apologizing. I don't have a problem going, yeah, you know what? You're right. I was wrong. I don't have a problem with doing that. I'm human, you know? Don't build an audience that thinks you are the only right out there. You know what I mean? And yeah, don't scam, and God forbid, don't scam your damn audience either. Okay, let's not do that. All right.
Accusations. YouTuber drama is usually pretty tame. I mean, we normally hear about a bit of ego, some greed, edgy humor that backfires, or at worst, a romantic relationship where the person is accused of abuse. We've never really seen a creator dedicate their life to hurting people like they were the Joker. And the third is the quantity. Every time it looked like we've heard everything, new accusations would break. The videos from the four main accusers came out over the course of months, and each was both more disturbing and more well-proven than the last. But at the very least, she had her content, right? I mean, she was making videos that people enjoyed, so as long as her reputation as a creator remained intact, maybe she could convince enough people that her reputation as a person shouldn't matter, right?
I'm gonna be honest. I'm going to be honest here, and I might get some boos in the chat, and that's fine. I don't care. At one point, I actually enjoyed her content. Like I said, I think I have maybe 2 or 3 reactions on this channel where I reacted to one of her videos, but I actually enjoyed her content. She had a good voice for it. And this is before I didn't know really anything. I think it was before I was even in this community. For real. I enjoyed her content. You know, it was something to watch, especially if I didn't want to, I was tired of covering drama, or I was tired of looking at drama. It was one of those channels that I could go to and not have to think, just watch, you know?
Right? Enter HBomberguy. See, to call HBomberguy a video essay YouTuber would actually be putting it pretty mildly. It would instead be more accurate to say that the man truly lives up to his name, disappearing from YouTube for up to a year at a time before dropping a video essay that gets up to tens of millions of views while
Okay, can we be honest about the HBomberguy though? Okay, the video, not the problem, but the people, okay, not everybody, all right? Let me make it very clear, not everyone, all right? But let's be honest, the hell we had to deal with after that video came out. I had people under my reaction streams going, oh, so you're plagiarizing by watching somebody else's content. No, bitch, it's called fair use. It's called fair use. If you can't tell me I don't transform my content. I double the time normally, okay? The shit we had to deal with after that video.
shaking up YouTube at its core before going back into silence. And in December of 2023, he decided to tackle the rising prevalence of plagiarism on YouTube.
You can spend ages on a unique video with an original idea, and a way more popular guy can rip it off, along with its thumbnail, get a bajillion views, and rake in the cash. On YouTube, if you have an original idea, if it's good, it won't be yours for long.
With particular focus on Illuminaughtii.
Some poor Illuminaughtii fans out there think I'm mad at her for quoting some words slightly wrong, because they assume, in good faith, that the YouTuber they like wouldn't tell them an obvious lie. Sadly, Illuminaughtii isn't a unique story. She's just the most prominent tip of the iceberg of content mill video essay garbage.
And not only was Blair's content criticized in an essay with over 30 million views, but HBomberguy made a second video entirely focused on how she plagiarizes documentaries.
A smart aleck in high school who had to write a 2,000-word essay and submitted one with 1,800 words of quotes decided to start a YouTube channel, and it's not pretty.
And that video received another 4 million views. So whatever credibility Blair was trying to
Holy shit, dude. You know what? I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even watch that second video. I didn't know he did a second video on her. Okay.
cling to, that was shattered, especially when you remember how much she clutched her pearls and cried plagiarism at Legal for a much lesser extent of imitation. This all left her with no way to convince her audience to give her another chance, and see over 500,000 subscribers and counting that have left. So going into 2024, how is Blair going to pull off the greatest comeback in YouTuber history? Well, she wasn't. I mean, she was already well on the back foot before this dropped thanks to the Sad Milk creators, and the claims that HBomberguy was making, there really wasn't any possible excuse. Like, the examples that he provided of plagiarism on the Illuminaughtii channel were pretty damning.
She downloads the footage and then paraphrases the voiceover, and if you're lucky, she'll briefly acknowledge she's just telling you what happened in a documentary you could have watched for yourself.
He's the grandfather of the MMR scare. The professor is semi-retired, but still charges up to $750 an hour to treat autistic children.
So this grandfather of the anti-vax movement, as he described, charges $150 an hour to treat autistic children, which, you know, is fucking ridiculous.
You're quoting another documentary. How are you getting these numbers wrong?
So she decided to carry on as if nothing happened in hopes that everyone would just move on and let her rebuild, but they didn't. Her views—
Well, see, that's what, that's what she always did. Because I remember there was some sort of drama with, like, an editor of hers, or they were like one of her managers or something like that, where that person was being really nasty to people in her community or something, and she like completely ignored it. I remember that. Like, that's just how she was. She was really good at ignoring shit and just keep it moving. You know? It's really weird.
plummeted to roughly 1/10 of what they were, and whatever engagement she would receive was universally negative. Like, for context, I would normally consider a long-form channel to be struggling if they're not able to consistently reach 10% of their subscriber number in views. But Blair was now struggling to reach 2%, and the quality of the uploads themselves started to take a hit. See, shortly after this plagiarism—
Yes, you want at least 10% of your subscribers in views. So a current video that you put up, you want at the bare minimum 10% of what your sub count is. So say you have— make the numbers easier. Say you have 1K subscribers. You want at the very least 100 views. You want 10% of your subscribers, of your subscriber count, to watch your video, at the very least.
Scandal dropped, one of Blair's videos had a serious editing oversight where her voice was cut out for several minutes. Now, I once made a similar mistake, so—
Yeah, wait a minute. He doesn't have Crew World Happy Mind in here either. He's literally just talking about Sad Milk and Oz Media. Yeah, he's not talking about Crew World Happy Mind in here either. For what he's talking about, he seems on the up and up for what he's talking about. It's just he's missing some stuff. It's kind of weird because usually they'll add in there a little quip about Cruel World Happy Mind, and then they'll add in there a quip about Tommy C. You know? But I mean, I like his video so far. It's just I wish he didn't miss those. But besides that, I mean, it's a good video so far. I'm not mad at it.
You know, it happens, even though I had like 1,000 subscribers and I've always run the channel by myself, but I'm sure there's a really good reason for why a channel with a whole team running it could make this mistake that doesn't rely on them just being a content farm running on autopilot. But either way, she wasn't made aware of this mistake for quite a while since the comments to all of her videos were turned off. Yeah, when the focus on you is now shifting to how you're careless and lazy with your content and can't take feedback, that's not the best set of circumstances. So after trying, and clearly failing, to power through the hate, Blair suddenly just vanished on February 15th, 2024, where she uploaded to YouTube in what
Holy shit! Wait, when did the stuff kick off with Illuminaughtii? Was that the middle of 2023? Was it the summer or was it summer or winter of 2023? Do y'all remember? I'm going to be honest, I don't remember. A month, I'm going to be honest here, a month feels like a year on the internet to me. It was the fall of 2023. No, wait, Neon's saying it started in April. Okay, so did Kangaloo, April and May of 2023. Yeah, so we're about to hit, we're, what, 4 or 5 months away from it being 2 years. Shit. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it because I'm old. Can't remember things.
Has since been her last appearance online as Illuminaughtii. And for context, this was her first upload in almost a year to cross 100,000 views, but with an estimated 5% like ratio. Like, it only gained that many views because of months of people randomly coming to the channel to leave a dislike on her last upload. So while that's the last we've seen of Blair publicly, that's not to say that Blair has definitely left the internet, because yeah, she could always start a new anonymous channel and apply her knowledge of YouTube to build it until it makes an income.
And with the recent innovations in voice AI, many have speculated that that's her plan to come back without anyone knowing it's her.
So while it's going to be a hassle, she could in theory be fine in the long run. Not to mention that all evidence points to her being pretty damn rich as is.
Blair would oftentimes tell me that she herself had enough money to retire at any given moment. Now, she was a very successful businesswoman, and from the surface, that did seem true. Blair even had a—
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. Blair lied to y'all. I think, okay, so from what we heard publicly and what I've heard privately, Blair always seemed to act like she had more than what she actually had. You know what I mean? Like, she did have it, but didn't have it at the same time. If you get what I'm saying, you know? Yeah, she is, actually. She is Kangaloo. Isn't she being sued to oblivion? I think so. I stopped watching. Once the law stuff started, I stopped caring until I get results. Because I'm going to be honest, the law stuff, that is just boring to me. I can't watch the content on that. It's just too boring to me. I can't do it.
a few BMWs of her own.
Plaintiff's revenue from videos, $74,646 in the period of November 23rd, 2022, December 23rd, 2022.
But while the Illuminaughtii brand is at a standstill, that's not to say that 2024 hasn't been an incredibly eventful year, because Blair's most recent developments have all been happening behind the scenes. If you remember, Blair's MO at this point is trying to handle things with lawyers. Basically, if she's going down, she's bringing down as many people as she can, even if that means foreclosing a home or two in the process. Which brings us to Oz Media's ongoing fight with Illuminaughtii. See, as he decided to fight back in court, Oz Media also pledged to expose more of Blair's misdeeds to the public in what has basically been promised to be a feature-length documentary.
The reason why this video has taken so much time as it has is not only am I a one-man team producing this, but I'm also continually uncovering more segments to the story and hearing more and more voices that come forward to speak their side of things. Interviews, questionnaires, screenshots, the works. All from a number of individuals.
But while continuing to develop that, he released what he considers to be its prologue on June 1st, 2024. And for the most part, he uses this video to shine a light on the legal trickery being deployed by Blair, as well as provide Blair with an opportunity to settle this out of court. Now,
I can tell you now, I know people who hated that video. I think I reacted to it.
Noting the level of confidence that Oz maintains throughout this video.
I am fully willing to submit this video and its subsequent parts to the courts as further evidence, as I am willing to stand by these words, as I'm treating this as though I'm speaking under oath. I am also not stating this to add an air of authority to my words, as Blair's legal team has previously proposed. My lawyer is aware I'm doing this.
Because, yeah, he comes out swinging with how he characterizes Blair's retaliation through this process.
Blair's lawsuit, in my opinion, relies on the misconstruing of facts and utilizes a personally curated timeline, which she has constructed in order to gain the bare minimum standards of having this case proceed. Because I'm exhausted with the, in my opinion, legal shenanigans Blair is currently pulling, this video exists. Blair is trying to paint her entire downfall on YouTube as being nothing more than my actions towards her as a jealous ex. I'm not jealous towards your current partner, Blair, only sympathetic.
And while this initial—
I feel like, okay, I'm gonna be honest. I feel like in the beginning of all this bullshit, if she just would have made a public statement apologizing and saying, yo, I f***ed up, right? I feel like she would have fell off a little bit, but it wouldn't have become what it became. You know what I'm saying? Because the one thing YouTubers and people who watch YouTube, the one thing they hate is lawsuits. They hate to see lawsuits. I'm going to be honest. I was very surprised that people were okay with Mr. B saying, well, saying without saying that he could possibly sue Dogpack. I was actually surprised that people were okay with Mr. B saying that. Because historically, people, especially the viewers and actual YouTubers themselves, they don't like those lawsuits, you know? Well, yeah, it does depend on what community you're in, too. That's true. Well, with the commentary community, they were like, yeah, no, I don't blame you. To Mr. Beast, you know?
Actually started with Blair claiming to remove anti-swatting measures taken for Oz's safety. Most of her trickery can be found on the legal side of things. Now, of course, this is all from Oz's perspective, but I'm not going to be saying allegedly and according to Oz every 2 seconds, even though most sellout YouTubers love to pad their videos for more mid-roll ads. Anyway, a key part of Blair's lawsuits
Okay, they do the allegedly and stuff like that. It's not a sellout, all right? It's them trying to cover their ass, all right? No matter what you do, you need to cover your ass.
that they largely focus on the claim of slander, basically saying that Oz is part of a coordinated effort to destroy Blair with false claims unprompted. But in trying to make that argument, Blair's messaging seems to be unreliable at best.
There is currently no reference to her ever uploading this video or any of the public comments she's made, making it appear as though she never played in the mud, and her criticisms came from nowhere. My point here is that Blair's story has already had numerous revisions, and she sees her video as an attempt at de-escalation. If you recall, among the many other accusations she levies, Blair accused YouTuber The Click of harboring files in his Discord server. In what world this is a de-escalation? I cannot say.
Now, Oz's defense focuses on the claim that slander had never taken place, and much of this argument hinges on Blair's infamous attempt at responding to her detractors, Illuminaughtii Exposed. Because prior to this video's release, the majorities of the accusations—
That was such a bad video. That was such a bad video. Oh my God, that video sucked. I was like, girl, what are you doing? And then the ex-boyfriend, oh my God, the ex-boyfriend that came out, the other ex-boyfriend or whatever, I remember him and Diesel got into it. Oh my God. This story was all kind of up there for a while. That video is why I stopped watching her. Yeah, Kiku. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. It was a horrible video.
accusations aimed at Blair were either about her as a collaborator or vaguely about her as a person. And taking Oz at his word, he and the other creators only spoke up because Blair managed to get herself into the aforementioned controversy with Legal Eagle that caused these creators to also get negative attention due to their past association with her. So these initial statements, according to Oz, were needed for them to protect their brands and distance themselves. But Blair's response was such a gross escalation that it forced these four to start making the claims that are now being argued as slanderous. Like, Blair was the one who accused the Click of protecting child likers, which is an accusation you have to respond to. Same with Wonder being an unreliable freeloader. Yeah, if you're a YouTuber, image is everything. Just ask Blair. So the four creators had to respond to these serious allegations.
That is true. That is true. Optics are a thing. Now, it's how you carry the optics and whether your ass gets burnt or not. If you carry yourself as a self-righteous person and you can do no wrong, you are going to get ate up faster than someone that can tell you, listen, I'm not perfect, I'm gonna fuck up. But if you carry yourself on this platform that you are the best, the sweetest, perfect person on the platform, and you virtue signal all over the place, you are going to get ate up when you f up. That's exactly what happened to Creepshow. Yes, Ka, that is exactly what happened to Creepshow. She ran around, virtue signal, and it's so funny because I remember seeing Creepshow in a chat that is from the the T community, and she would be saying she would be giving donations, love bombing, and saying stuff in the chat that didn't add up to what she would say in the RFC chat. They wouldn't match, and I noticed that shit because I was watching Argy RFC. I was a mod in the chat she was chatting in and what she was saying and who she was love bombing. I was a mod in that chat. So I saw early on how Creepshow, I was like, oh, that's funny. Because you said the opposite over there. You know, I saw that shit firsthand.
either because they threatened to ruin their reputations, as was the case with Click and Wonder, or because they witnessed events that were being mischaracterized, like with One Topic and Oz.
Without ambiguity, I wanted to address the parts that I was present for that I feel were misrepresented and lied about, just to clear the air on that side, since I feel at least a little bit like some words were put in my mouth.
You were kind of just literally being paid to like stand around. I might be wrong on this, but you actively did try to like assist her with her like the candle shop that she was just starting up, and I mean she didn't like that, but you were actively trying to seek out and find work, so it's not like you were just like freeloading off of it. You, from my memory, you were trying to actually earn your keep.
And this is just the start of Blair desperately trying to recontextualize everyone's actions in order to remove any personal responsibility.
Felix provides documentation of Blair offering him $200 to sift through prior Sad Milk recordings to find evidence of Click using the R word. These screenshots in question are what Blair is suing.
Who cares about the R word? Okay, listen, I used to be the same way. So I get people not liking that word. I used to be the exact same way. But then I had to get a reality check of real life versus Twitter life. And I used to be a virtue signaler over it. I'm telling you, listen, the person who goes to expose me, you know what they're going to expose me for? How I used to be an SJW. That's what they're going to expose me for, because all my old tweets are there. All my old SJW tweets are there. My old content is still up, but it's up there because one, I'm not hiding from it, and two, I talk about it all the time, how I'm not like that anymore. So what are you going to expose? I left it there for a reason.
For defamation, as well as breach of contract. What is not included within this lawsuit, however, is the screenshot evidence provided by Felix of Blair owning the alt account that was created to harass Click, as well as his cohorts in 2020. Take this information as you will. Felix came to the aid of someone defending themselves. What Blair has done in this lawsuit is completely remove any and all instances or references of her public statements to make it appear as though any attack against her is slanderous.
And this went even further, with Blair trying to pin all of the damages she has suffered on whoever is most convenient, even when the growing misfortune to her business stems from many factors.
More people are aware of Blair because of HBomberguy than they are for any of the other drama-related reasons surrounding her. Defendant Felix's statement caused special damages, as evident by the fact that plaintiff's revenue from videos dropped by more than 95% after defendant's tweet /
I will say HBomberguy probably did the most damage on her because that audience that watched it, and again, I'm not saying everybody who watched that video. I'm talking about the people who want to go out and fight for justice. Those people who watched that video, they were like, I don't even know how to describe them. They were feral. They were going under everybody's video. And especially if they did react content, they were talking about plagiarism. They were talking about all that shit. Why are you stealing this person's video? Did you give them credit? Etc., etc., etc. Oh, God, it was such a pain in the ass. Yes, Liggins, I agree with you. H-Bomber fans are the worst. The crazy ones. Not your normal fan. I'm not saying the normal people, you know.
X was published. Blair is listing a drop of revenue from a specific date period and ignoring the fact that her revenue had begun to decline far before then. The official date, April 20th, 2023, is when we can see the first damage being done to her subscriber count. This is also the day she levied accusations against Legal Eagle. Again, the damages Blair is suffering is of her own doing. The only reason any of us are in this position is because of the actions Blair initially took on April 20th, 2023.
And that's only the start. See, Blair became desperate to silence as many of her critics as possible, and allegedly went to great lengths in trying to make that wish legally binding, whether in reference to her past behavior.
I do want to briefly talk about a few details in the CPO ordered against me, which, again, was denied, where Blair accuses me of beating her dog, Casper. I also, in my personal opinion, believe that this is further evidence of Blair twisting and manipulating facts, or in some cases, just outright lying. The term—
Okay, that is one thing I miss about Illuminaughtii. I'm sorry. Y'all can kiss my ass. I don't care what you say. I miss the pictures of her dog. I'm gonna be honest. It was a cute dog. It was a really cute dog, and I missed the pictures of the dog.
Terms of both said CPOs are this. Petitioner requests that this court order to delete all posts X has made to social media since April 23rd, 2023, pertaining to—
Skip says, this is what I don't get. Of the issue made it all the way to courts, then why are these turbo nerds still obsessed with influencing public opinion about her? All right, Skip, I don't know if you're talking about this actual video that we're watching, because I think what this is doing the retrospective and then putting us into what's going on now. I think that's the point of this video. If it's this video that you're talking about, I think that's what he's doing. Because I'm going to be honest, I don't watch Madcaster. I know Madcaster has been like the #1 lawyer guy who's been going like doing all the Illuminaughtii court stuff. I just don't watch him. Because the court stuff bores me to death.
Sadmo, Petitioner, or her social media platforms. The restraining orders in question were to, once more, prevent publication of any information on Blair. In this restraining order, Blair directly cites the video I was originally producing as a documentary on her actions as grounds to allow this pseudo-gag order to proceed. Scared of something?
Or to gain free reign to abuse the legal system unopposed.
This, in my opinion, was an attempt at a gag order to prevent all future posting on Blair. Specifically, in my opinion, to lay the groundwork for her to begin her lawsuit unopposed with no worry of public retaliation, as well as to prevent any and all future responses from—
I feel like he's just reacting to this video. Is it me, or is he just basically reacting to this video? I feel like he is. Retrospectives are way easier because the research is already done. True, Sliggins.
from being posted. It is my opinion that Blair had the motives to silence the critics so she could begin her attempt at rewriting the public narrative.
And in general, Blair sought to throw out as many hurdles as possible against her detractors so they would drown, many of which have been dismissed.
I will add that as of this video's production, Wonder has not been served by the courts and is currently on the table for dismissal. 2 civil protection orders against myself as well as Wonder were filed by Blair. These were denied by the court. August 29th, 2023, Blair would submit a new set of temporary restraining orders, which were denied.
And while already silencing critics is a bad look, that's not where Blair's dirty tricks end. See, another defendant of Blair's lawsuits is a former employee named Felix, because Felix had done work for Blair across 2 companies. First, he worked for the company that managed the Sad Milk channel, and later he received a role at Pyramid Entertainment, which handles the Illuminaughtii channel itself. Now, this might seem surprising because Felix is not involved in this as a YouTuber or public figure in quite the same way as Wonder or Oz, but that's because behind the scenes, Felix was instrumental in providing evidence that showed Blair's obsession with ruining her former friends.
Here is Illuminaughtii having a conversation with the same admin.
Oh, so that's... Wait. So the marked out is Felix? It must have been Felix in that screenshot then.
Sharing the same kind of, dirt digging old videos that we've seen previously in this video.
Yeah,
and she says
okay.
16 seconds, the alt account is gonna love this.
Now, those messages were damning for Blair. I mean, with Oz and Wonder, you could argue that it's just a personal conflict where we can't take anyone at their word, but this showed a frankly disgusting way that Blair was spending a huge amount of her free time for literally no tangible reason.
This draft matches with one of the posts made by an alt account called Doobie Schmertz on Reddit. Here is the same account, Doobie Schmertz, on Twitter. This was an account I remember distinctly from 2020, 2021 that was relentlessly harassing myself, my friends, my...
Okay, I kind of wish you didn't do that filter because I couldn't see that screenshot. Like, I can't read that. That filter pisses me off because I can't read that screenshot. I'm sorry. Y'all know how I am about screenshots. All right. First of all, 1, you got to take them correctly. All right. And 2, at least have it there where I can read it.
Remember distinctly from 2020, 2021 that was relentlessly harassing myself, my friends, my colleagues, my streaming colleagues, past colleagues, ex-Sad Milk members, community members, you name it. You name it. And it keeps going. Here it is on Twitter, tagging me, tagging her.
Like, I can't read it. I mean, don't you think it's important for the audience to be able to read that? Bro, I hate this filter. Like, I get that you want the aesthetic of, like, the TV lines and stuff, but I want to be able to read the receipts.
Herself. It's tagging Deaf Noodles. It's tagging Midnight Palma, Damien. It's tagging a bunch of people from the community and Salty. It's tagging Amanda the Jedi. We had her on the guest on the podcast, and you come after Amanda the Jedi? It goes on. It keeps going. This isn't some small YouTuber beef. This isn't people...
Yeah, okay. Maybe it's because these are screenshots from Click's video. He just threw the filter and ripped video to avoid copyright strike. I reacted to this video. So, I mean, I don't think Click would have copyright striked him. I didn't get one. Well, then again, I'm not as big as him. So, that's true. But, yeah, exactly. Click doesn't copyright strike like that. True. He's got too beautiful of a voice to do something like that.
People being angry at each other because, ooh, someone did a bit more work in a project or not.
It was the first real piece of evidence that Blair's behavior went beyond typical YouTuber feuds and entered the territory of being, frankly, scary. So Blair is desperately trying to punish Felix in ways that, let's just say, should be illegal if they aren't.
Felix was never directly handed papers. Instead, the papers were delivered by mail to an address he lives 2 hours away from. The papers were never formally handed to Felix. Felix's sister found an envelope in the mail with regular US postage labeled to Felix on or around October 6th. This directly opposes the processor's claim of directly handing it to Felix. The argument of us theorizing that Blair was trying to get a default judgment against Felix comes from the fact that after the service attempt, nearly every day afterwards, Felix would check in with the Colorado courts for an official proof of service to be filed, so he could begin his legal battle. However, proof of service was not filed until after the time required for Felix to respond.
Like, I'm not a legal expert by any stretch, but it's hard to imagine that the extent of deception being documented isn't going to be ruinous for Blair once the judge puts it together.
Proof of service was not filed with the courts until November 17th, more than 2 weeks after, meaning that Felix would have defaulted. Even my lawyer was caught off guard by these actions.
But either way, Blair's alleged trend of mischaracterizing events continued into her suit against Felix. See, sharing private messages isn't generally illegal, right? When that cute boy texts you, you're not breaking the law by sending it to the council of friends to help you formulate the perfect response to let him know that you're fun and flirty, but he's still gotta work for it, right? So
Oh my God. If they ever come out with some kind of law that no, see, we can't have that happen, okay? Think about it. If they made it against the law to share private messages, my job is done. My job on YouTube. My channel is done. Could you imagine though? Can you imagine if it became illegal not to share private DMs? No. Some of the best dramas came out of private DMs, bro. Xylie goes broke.
So what makes this illegal? Well, according to Blair, there were confidentiality agreements that Felix signed while working for her that would prohibit him from being able to share company communication, which these messages would fall under. But Oz scathingly rebukes this argument, saying that this conversation can't possibly be considered one that Felix was having as an employee of Pyramid Entertainment.
The screenshot in question happened November 10th, 2020, nearly 7 months before Felix's employment under Pyramid Entertainment. The NDA should not cover private messages unrelated to Pyramid LLC. It appears to me that Blair is attempting to claim that every conversation she has ever had with an employee throughout all of time, even matters unrelated to Pyramid Entertainment, are under NDA. It is also important to point out that these actions in question were not, to my knowledge, normal company practice to specifically target employees who were low on money to dig up dirt on prior collaborators of Blair's.
In fact, not only do these conversations not seem to fall under the scope of Pyramid Entertainment, but Oz's team believes that they can't even be argued as anything more than Blair soliciting personal favors.
I would also like to add that if this was official company...
This is just a reaction to that video. That's all this is. Okay, we're getting ready to go. Okay, so, all right, he has Madcaster in there. All right. Bro. All right, what I said was you don't really have to hand it to someone. You can throw it on the floor at their feet and they are considered served. Can even put an ad in the paper for X amount of time. Can even put an ad in the paper for an X amount of time. Really? Really, Skip? I didn't know that. Well, the ad part I didn't know. Yeah, I know you would know. Yeah, I know you would know, Skip. Stuff like this will get you going. Okay.
Business, there should be a documented 1099 form or other specific documentation to show the payments to Felix are properly documented for specifically Pyramid Entertainment. After talking with Felix and being shown his TurboTax filing from 2020, I can confidently state
Yes, Sakura. I thought this was going to be a retrospective too. I really did think this was going to be a retrospective, but it's just I mean, it's kind of a retrospective for how long ago this video came out. It came out early this year, so...
Neither this 1099 nor any form of company documentation exists to specify this payment as being directly in service of Pyramid Entertainment. In my eyes, I see this as Blair retroactively changing the events of 2020 to fit her narrative within the lawsuit. The simple truth is, this conversation was held November of 2020, and he was hired May of 2021. Blair is trying to claim that these were company communications and has framed it as such to make the lawsuit.
You know what? It is a reaction to this video, because that would be the reason why not to include Crew World, Happy Mind, or Tommy C. That's all this is. This is just a reaction to that video. With a little bit of extra added stuff. All right, let's see what the...
stick.
And there are even instances of Blair directly lying and trying to argue that people are being deceptive about her.
One of the reasons Blair is suing Felix is for defamation because of a DM where he claimed that Blair has used the R word in private. Well, here she is using it in public as an insult. The main focus here...
Who cares about the R word? I do not care about the R word. I do not care. If you would have asked me 3-4 years ago, I would have cared. I don't care.
There is the hypocrisy at play because it's plain as day.
Okay, yeah, okay, now I do care about it at that point. Hypocrisy. However, what if they changed? Because somebody can throw the hypocrisy towards me. What if somebody finds an old tweet of mine or an old stream of mine where I'm like, I don't say that word, you know, I was told by somebody I know who didn't like that word, you know, and I don't want to do that for them and blah, blah, blah. They're going to find that. And now I'll say retarded because I would stop it around them. I wouldn't do it around them, but I still used it. How is it a retro? Because it's old. Because that video is old, so that's why it's a retrospective, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I thought of it wrong. Maybe I thought this video was something else than what it was. I don't know, Skip.
I actually think that Blair's lawyer put it best, because implies that Blair is both a hypocrite and a bigot.
Now again, it's really important to remember that Oz's lawyer was aware that he was making this video, and if I had to guess, likely reviewed it before it went live. So when you consider how strong some of Oz's claims are, it only increases the chance, in my opinion, that Blair is hoping to run out the clock with these suits without them going to court, because they're frankly ridiculous. In fact, another lawyer, YouTuber Madcaster, has reaffirmed the strength of both Oz's and Felix's cases. In fact, he expresses that the litigation seems to have only gone this far due to a lack of understanding from the judge in various elements of running a business on YouTube.
Apparently the judge, in my opinion, is not doing his due diligence in understanding what's going on with these people and what they do and how they interact, Educate yourself on what these people do.
Now, Oz believes that Blair specifically targeted Felix to prevent him from being interviewed by Oz. Though for what it's worth, Oz is using the crowdfunding he has received to help pay the legal expenses of other defendants, including Felix, which the link for that will again be below. Also, as far as legal action against Wonder goes, while he was served a cease and desist last year, he was never actually served a lawsuit, meaning his case has been on track to be dismissed.
I will add that as of this video's production, Wonder has not been served by the courts and is currently on the table for dismissal. If he does get served, the GoFundMe will be at his disposal for legal fees as well.
But I mentioned that Oz came with an offer for Blair, a way to end this. What did I mean?
My settlement offer is for you to drop the lawsuit, for all parties involved, even Wonder, with prejudice. I won't file counterclaims and would no longer be required to upload the second part to this video. Plaintiff and myself will agree on a third party who we both independently trust to host a fair conversation. Their responsibility will be to ensure that each person is not spoken over and is given a chance to clear their mind. Plaintiffs may also
Wait, didn't they have that conversation? I want to say they had that at one point. I don't know how what happened after, but I want to say they had that conversation.
take this time to take accountability for their actions instead if they wish. Legal fees of either party will not be sought out, and this will be taken for the loss that it is. I can provide no personal guarantee in either circumstance that you, Blair, would be able to repair your public image or reputation. That is up to you. However, I am giving you the opportunity that your lawsuit will most certainly not.
Yes, Oz put out an olive branch, a way to settle this in the court of public opinion rather than a court of law. Though Oz clarifies that this is not due to a lack of belief in his ability to win, more so a lack of desire.
We've had to deal with the heartbreak of a miscarriage throughout all of this, and I just want the opportunity to heal with my partner in peace, which is why I'm even considering giving Blair this settlement. If Blair doesn't accept the following offer, let alone negotiate, so be it. I have no problem with continuing forward. I have no problem with continuing to pursue this until the end, as I do not fear the outcome of the case, especially after the judge's recent orders.
And while Oz initially provided a strict June deadline for Blair to accept his offer, negotiations have gone on for months, with them again meeting for mediation on December 3rd. Now, if you notice, most of what I mentioned for this update concerned Felix, and this is because Oz was waiting for his counter-
Okay, so they had another meeting. The last meeting they had was December 3rd of this year. So they're still in the middle of talking. Okay.
claims to be accepted by the judge before going public with them. And he provided an update on October 27th, saying that now these claims have been accepted, he's comfortable going public and plans on doing so if these negotiations fall through.
There'll probably be no major updates until several days after mediation, and if mediation does fail, I will proceed with part 2 as planned, as the judge has accepted my counterclaims. My hope would be this lawsuit can come to a close. By the time that mediation does occur, this lawsuit will have cost over $80,000, and we haven't even entered discovery yet, so this very well could cost several more years of my life and hundreds of thousands of dollars down the line.
Though it's currently unclear if the release of the feature-length expose that was promised last year is also contingent on these negotiations. Though, as almost became my catchphrase last year, I think Blair is screwed. Like, even with Oz's offer, I don't see how that upload would ever be beneficial to Blair, seeing as how universally people are labeling her as the problem. In fact, the Click had mentioned that he thinks Blair truly believes that she's done nothing wrong, so I wonder if Oz is trying to play off of that. Like, Blair is so sure she'll clear her name that she signs the agreement, but this overconfidence ends up being unfounded, so her career still goes under while preventing her from being able to sue. Now, it's worth noting that while Oz said to expect an update within a few days of this mediation, as of this video's release, it has been over a week with no statements from Oz. Now, while I know my way around a contract, actual litigation like this is beyond me, so I can't really say what I think this delay implies. For fun though, I asked the fanciest version of ChatGPT, who basically told me it was just as likely—
You know, it's probably gotten to the point the lawyers are telling everybody shut the fuck up. That might be it. Wait, he asked ChatGPT. Okay, Mama Max, what are you doing? We've already dealt with one motherfucker who asked ChatGPT shit, and we see where he is now. Okay? I'm just saying. No. I wanted to like you, bro. No. Hold on. Hold on. Do you know to this day, I'm still getting likes on that tweet that I put under Mama Max going, did you really ask ChatGPT for legal advice? To this day, I'm still getting likes on that tweet. But Xylie, true Skip, but Xylie, ChatGPT understands law. Yes, of course. Hello. Hello. Oh my God. Holy shit. Okay, here we go. All right, ready? We're in this together. 1, 2, 3, go.
Can't really say what I think this delay implies. For fun though, I asked the fanciest version of ChatGPT, who basically told me it was just as likely that mediation was successful as it is that everything broke down and things have escalated. So, you know, like most AI use cases, it wasn't very helpful.
Bro, don't go to ChatGPT. Don't go to ChatGPT, no. Hasn't it already been proven that ChatGPT is actually getting dumber? Hasn't that been proven that ChatGPT is actually getting dumber? Okay. Because I remember, who was it that said, I think it was Mudahar, actually. Yeah, I think it was Mudahar who said that. Somebody said it. Xylie gets real. Yes, it's been proven that Chat GPT is legit getting dumber by the day. Oh, it's becoming more human. There we go.
Though I had mentioned Oz's counterclaims because, yeah, in an effort to increase the pressure on Blair, Oz actually filed his own lawsuit against her. Now, this was broken down by Vangelina Scava and Madcaster, two creators whose coverage of the legal side of things Oz has thus far praised. In essence, Oz is seeking to quiet title his home, basically trying to clear up any confusions about the ownership of his house since, again, it was almost foreclosed by Blair last year. And much of Oz's claims center around the argument that he was coerced into signing ownership of debt without representation.
This document then goes on to make some very damning allegations against Illuminaughtii. For example, saying that Oz believes that...
Shout out Vangelina. She is such a sweetheart. I love me some Vangelina. She is so cool. She's a cool person.
Blair coerced him into signing the deed of trust against his home, and that he was also pressured by Blair into signing various documents purporting to evidence of debt by him to her.
Which, based on his characterization of these events last year, would sound correct. Or at least in the opinion of someone with a degree in film that almost went to law school but decided to do YouTube instead. Yeah, I started losing myself the more that sentence went on, so I'll remind you of Oz's description.
When I was 23 and Blair was nearly 31, Blair, with her lawyer, would create an honestly quite confusing legal document for me to sign where I would agree to pay back her debt. Blair, being the person who signed my checks, knew that I couldn't afford legal representation. She essentially explained to me that because she used company funds to assist me, that she had committed embezzlement. And by converting the amount that I owed her into a loan with her company, this would save her skin legally. When I was 11, my mother was incarcerated for this exact crime, a remnant of the 2008 financial crisis. Blair was aware of this past of mine. Whether this was used against me, I can't say for certain. But the idea of another person I love being locked away, but this time for my actions, words cannot describe the guilt that I had.
Oz's suit also points out the legal trickery that Blair has been committing.
Okay, I'm going to be honest. I don't like how he worded all that. All right. I didn't like the way he worded that.
My actions? Words cannot describe the guilt that I had.
Oz's suit also points out the legal trickery that Blair has been committing.
A big thing in her request for a restraining order was that Oz Media was not going to be allowed to discuss her publicly at all on YouTube on anything. So what it seemed like was that she was trying to get a gag order against him. And this is what's being claimed in this document as well, that this was an attempt to silence Oz and others from talking about her on the internet. But of course, this didn't go through.
As well as financial mismanagement and kind of what sounds like fraud.
It then goes on to say that Oz believes that a lot of the debt that was written into this document was from Blair's own personal expenses. So not money that he had spent at all, or money that they had spent together during their short romantic relationship, which were expenses that he had believed that they were supposed to share. It then says that Blair used company funds for things that weren't company expenses, but added these to the ledger of debt to claim that it was a loan she had given to Oz, and that this was now a legitimate business expense, when in fact it may not have been that at all. So extremely damning accusations to make. However, this $40,000, which was meant to be payment to him for work that he had done, was included in the ledger of debt. So she had added this as money that he owed her, even though it was supposed to be payment. And
wait, what? Wait.
Expense, when in fact it may not have been that at all. So extremely damning accusations to make. However, this $40,000, which was meant to be payment to him for work that he had done, was included in the ledger of debt. So she had added this as money that he owed her, even though it was supposed to be payment. And
wait, what? Wait. So she owed him $40,000, but put it in the ledger of debt for him to pay. What? Okay, wait a minute. That's diabolical. What the? She's basically saying you're gonna have to pay yourself. You. What? That's crazy. What? Who does that? No, I didn't know that part. I didn't understand that part. I told you I don't like the legal shit, okay? I don't like the legal shit. Holy shit. Bro, I owe you $40K, but I'm gonna slap you with this, and that $40K is included. Now you owe me. How do you turn that around to you owe me $40K when I owe you $40K? This is exactly why Blair dates guys much younger than her, because she can manipulate them due to their lack of life experience. Holy shit, Sakura. Maybe, Skip, for what his yearly salary, maybe? I don't know. It's for working for her, though. Holy shit. That's crazy.
Oz believes that Blair would later inflate the $40,000 payment to $49,999 with no reason for doing this. She just did it.
And to say that this lawsuit was scathing against Blair would be putting it lightly. It uses some very strong language that seems to suggest the confidence that Oz and his team have.
The detriment of his own financial well-being, all as a consequence of Blair's urging, manipulation, coercion, deceit, and overbearing narcissism, which only foreshadowed her toxic personal and professional identity.
And Oz specifically asked for the trial to be decided by a jury, which does make sense to me. See, Oz had speculated in his update that the judge was giving Blair leniency because he wasn't personally familiar with the YouTube space and so didn't understand some of the subject matter.
The judge is not connected to or well educated on the YouTube space, nor the drama which has transpired. He is doing his job and acting according to the documents provided in front of him.
So having a group of day-to-day people increases the likelihood that the ones deciding this case will be more familiar with certain niche aspects. But yeah, there's a word being thrown around a lot here, which is comeback. Is Blair going to make a comeback? What's her plan for the comeback? Can she even make a comeback? Because hey, YouTube money is great, especially when your job is—
She's on another channel. She's growing another channel right now as we speak. And my guess is she's not even using her voice. That's my guess. You know?
It's just paraphrasing documentaries. But you already know that the answer is no. You don't need me to tell you that. But what I do think is interesting about Illuminaughtii isn't how she's left without an audience, but the ways in which she made it impossible for anyone in that audience to ever return. Because the mistakes that were made over the last 2 years were not only so amateurish that it shocks me that someone on her level could make them, but they were so impossibly specific that it's no wonder it took 18 years of YouTube to see a PR screw up this massive. What do I mean? Well, there's the fact that her first mistake was able to act as proof for the main accusation she faced. Remember, she went after Legal Eagle for using similar documentary visuals to the Illuminaughtii channel, despite set effects being generic ones that she didn't even create. So you might say that trying to ruin someone for a perceived slight when the slight in question holds no water is a pretty petty and vindictive thing to do, right? You know what else someone who's petty and vindictive—
Yeah, she's petty and vindictive, but it wasn't just the Sad Milk crew that she was petty and vindictive about.
might do? Spread rumors of someone being attracted to minors because they respectfully left the project, or trying to use those rumors to drive a wedge between him and a close friend and have said friend labeled an enabler, or crossing state lines to illegally possess a car that you coerce someone into letting you lease them.
Or become friends with somebody and be one of the managers on a channel, and then when you get pissed off with them about some joke in a goddamn Discord and delete the video she was in. That's petty and vindictive too, but let's just stick with the Sad Milk shit. What she did to Cool World Happy Mind. Petty and vindictive. What the fuck? Bruh. You remember when Tommy had me crying? Remember when the broadcast went over that video with Tommy talking about the Illuminaughtii shit and I started crying when he was like, I want you to do good. And I started tearing up and you heard it in my voice. I was sniffling. And then Tommy reacted to it and literally clutched his pearls like, oh my God, I felt that. It was a sad moment. It made me upset. Tommy made me upset by saying that.
Or trying to repossess a house from your ex-partner. Like, it's crazy to me that before any proof was presented, the first stone that Blair threw over something so trivial and stupid was enough to suggest that, regardless of if she did those things, she was certainly capable of them. Not to mention that at least twice she clutches her pearls about accusations that she herself is later found guilty of.
Blair accused one of Devon's editors of taking her video's style. They were trying to replicate her videos. One segment was about the YouTuber Illuminaughtii, whose videos heavily plagiarized documentaries. She downloads the footage and then paraphrases the voiceover, and if you're lucky, she'll briefly acknowledge she's just telling you what happened in a documentary you could have watched for yourself.
In 2020, Click was still using horrifying language and slurs that have long been deemed unacceptable.
Blair can be seen in this tweet using the exact word in question that she condemns and damns others for using, only 3 years prior to her stating, that word was never in my vocabulary. According to Blair,
Oh, Blair. I've heard stories about what words were in your category. I mean, what words were in your vocabulary, ma'am. I've heard stories. I've heard stories about you, ma'am.
even 10 years is inexcusable.
But then she decides to escalate the situation by bringing in intimate details of her former employee's mental health, and there has been a huge surge in sympathy and seriousness surrounding conversations around mental health over the past decade. And it's a creator who was less than a tenth her size when people hate to see creators punching down, and then you use your wealth to try and force them into silence with litigation. When the audience on YouTube hates being reminded that some YouTubers are rich almost as much as they hate YouTubers turning to litigation, even if it's justified. To loosely quote Barry Allen, if there was an Olympics for bad choices, Blair didn't just medal, she Michael Phelps'd. Do you know how bad you have to—
I mean, that's true. It depends on the situation. Like, again, with Dogpack and Mr. Beast. If Mr. Beast actually goes through and sues Dogpack, I'm not mad at it. I'm not going to sit here and call it a lol suit. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to sit here and go, it's ridiculous Mr. Beast is suing him. I'm not going to do it with the slanderous shit that kid was saying. But you know, I find it awfully funny. Dogpack, you've been real quiet ever since that Oompaville interview with Mr. Beast. Where in the hell have you been, Dogpack? Are you under a rock? Are you in a cave? Are you up a tree? Where are you, Dogpack? What happened to you, buddy? Your girl Rosanna's still talking a bunch of shit. Which, I mean, she can keep going because I don't think Rosanna understands it can be her too. Because, again, the one video is still up on her channel with the whole goddamn thing is a lie. Just saying. He's in the cornfield from the first video. Yeah, Redis, that's where he's at.
To mess up to get the internet to universally side with 4 white dudes, one of whom is a literal blue-haired liberal. If there was ever going to be a group for the internet to turn against, you would think it's this one, but no. The extent of Blair's possible literal crimes are both so great and numerous that the Illuminaughtii brand is broken beyond repair. And every time Blair's had the chance to change course, she just kept making things worse. Though on a note completely unrelated from YouTube's top pyramid scheme buster going under, I would like to announce my new company that'll help you be your own boss.
I don't care. I'm gonna be honest. All right, I am subscribed to him, and I'm gonna stay subscribed. Don't get me wrong. But I don't know how I felt about this video.
Blair and I have agreed to settle this matter confidentially through mediation. The lawsuit has been dismissed against all parties without any admission of fault by any party. As a part of the non-disclosure agreement, it should be known that Blair will not be sharing her side of the story behind this dispute, nor will I. No one should contact either of us further about this case or ask us to comment on it, or each other. As I have stated previously, anyone following me should never make threatening remarks to anyone involved in this case in a public or private forum.